Mental health, it doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun, and it all starts with you. How do you juggle everything?
The answer until about a year ago was very poorly.
Can we make some noise for therapy right now?
I know what I've been put on this earth for. I know what my gift to the world is. And that's kind of the most important thing.
Life just felt like a circus because I couldn't be honest with myself about who I was and what I wanted.
When you start cutting corners on your happiness, it bleeds over into other areas because you can only fake who you are for so long.
How did your life change once you started being honest with yourself?
My life changed because you're able to really understand what clarity and what peace is.
Let's hear it one time for my man, Sam Koch.
YouTube, how we feeling right now? Come on, we gotta turn this into a party right now. Mental health does not have to be boring. It does not have to be dry. It can be fun. We're here to break the stigma and make some noise around mental health. So are you guys ready to have a good time or what? Nah. Danny, yo, I gotta get them more energy, guys, more energy right now. Are you guys ready to have a good time or what? There we go. So before we get started, I want to thank YouTube so much for having us. YouTube truly cares about our mental health. So who are we? I'm part of Happy Jack Entertainment. We're a production company that works with creators to produce studio shows around wellness. Think of us as like the bar stool of wellness. Except our goal is to make shows with creators, help them stay well, overcome burnout, and create some cool shit. Listen, guys, you are all role models in the crowd today, whether you want to admit it or not. A lot of you have more influence than brands and organizations do today. So by taking care of creators and by taking care of people in the industry, we hope that everyone here today will be able to lead by example for the next generation. The name Happy Jack comes from Jack Nathan, the late son of my co-founder, David Nathan. Jack started Happy Jack as a community for the misunderstood, telling people it's okay to not be okay. Unfortunately, Jack passed away at 19 years old from an accidental fentanyl poisoning. We're here today to continue his legacy and to make sure we leave the world a better place. So, mental health, it doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun, and it all starts with you. So who's ready to talk some mental health? With that being said, I'd like to introduce our first guest. You may know him as Carlton from the show Bel-Air on Peacock. He's got a hot single out called Body. Actor, singer, make some noise for my guy, Olly Sholotan. So what's up, bro?
I'm good. So nice.
How
are you doing?
to be here with you today, man.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you so
pleasure.
much for coming.
Of course.
Seriously, it's an honor. YouTube, we're all so excited to have my guy Olly here today. Can we make one more round of applause for Olly right now? So Olly, you wear a lot of hats, bro.
Yeah.
You're an actor, singer. How do you juggle everything?
You know, it's funny. The answer until about a year ago was very poorly. Because, you know, it's just like, yeah, like I kind of got into this thing of like, okay, if I need to do everything, I need to do it all, and I need to not sleep in order to do it. But it was taking a toll on my mental health. And, you know, I've really been big on balance in the last like 12 months of my life. Just like, you know, there's only so many hours in a day, put a little bit of time into each thing and just really focus on the journey, not the result. And that's been really helpful for me.
And what do you do? Any self-care practices for the audience and everybody watching?
I touch grass, which sounds really like, but like literally just the act of walking outside and, you know, feeling the sun, touching a little bit of grass. I work in 30-minute to hour spurts. Just like 30 minutes on this, take a little break, an hour on this, take a little break, and that is really good.
So you take breaks in
Yeah.
between, which is important.
Yeah.
For me too, that's something I've been working on lately, trying to take breaks. I'm sure it's something we could all relate in the audience of just work, work, work. We live, especially in a city like New York, it's so much work first and people lose a sense of balance. I want to segue for a second into talking about Carlton Banks. Iconic character. Was there any internal struggle that you had when being tasked to play that role?
Okay, so for those of you who have not seen our version of Bel-Air, our modern day approach to the show, the original show is a 30-minute comedy, ours is an hour-long drama. And so we really look at, these characters through a modern lens, right? What happens when we take Carlton Banks' struggles as the only black kid in Bel-Air and see how that affects him today, and it manifests in a substance abuse problem, an issue with anxiety. He has frequent panic attacks. And, as an artist, I always want to show these things in a real and authentic light because I think art reflects culture and culture reflects what is possible, right? And what people see as doable. And so it was always important to me to show Carlton going through the entire journey so that at the end, when he is in therapy and he does find healthy ways to cope with his mental health, like it feels authentic. But in that journey, I still, as Olly, have to go through those motions. I have to have those panic attacks on screen. I have to, have the 10 hours of crying a day on set. And so I'd say that was the most challenging thing. And I'm still young in my career, so that is still something I'm sort of trying to navigate, right? How do you show truth in character, but also take care of me as the actor?
Right.
So if any of y'all have an answer to that, let me know.
Now, was any of his struggles with anxiety or panic attacks relatable to you in your own personal experiences?
As a kid, I used to get panic attacks. I'm not gonna say frequently, but enough that I was like, hey, this feels weird. But I think that's something that through therapy, actually, I'm now able to kind of manage. And even now, I was actually talking about it earlier. In the last 3 years of my life, the show's exploded, and it's been the most incredible thing that has happened. But with that just comes more opinions, more publicness. And again, that's an adjustment too, that I think I'm handling pretty all right.
But we love a good therapy session.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Is anybody out here in therapy? Can we make some noise for therapy right now? I feel like everybody should be in therapy personally, so kudos to you. Talking about therapy, you are Nigerian American. So growing up in your household, was mental health even a thing?
No. Nah. The idea was always, what do you have to be sad about? Right? The idea was always that, and my parents are incredible, incredible people, and I think that, they armed us with the tools that they had, and, they armed me and my siblings with what they thought was the way to do things. But I think a lot of the rhetoric was always, okay, well, we've provided all of this. What is there to be sad about? In the most recent years, I went to UCLA, and UCLA is very big on mental health.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go
Go
Bruins.
Bruins. And we have on campus what we call the CAPS Center, which is the student, I forget what the acronym is, but it's the Center for Mental Health. And that kind of started my journey into mental health. My parents have actually been really receptive to talking about therapy and our feelings. It's
Yeah. Can we give a round of applause for that, everybody? So, was there any mentorship or moral support from any of the original cast members from Fresh Prince, like Uncle Will?
Oh, Will is the coolest dude on the planet. I'm gonna be so honest. He's way too famous to be that cool. He has been such an advocate, not only for the show, but also for us as performers. And, especially with stepping into a role like this, it's very daunting. It's so, what do we do? Will, is this okay? And the whole time he's been like, y'all, trust yourselves. we chose you for these roles because we believe in you. So trust yourself and do it. And he is a very big advocate in take everything a day at a time, because I think every ambitious person's heel is that we want the world, but we want it now. And I think that's something that Will struggled with in his youth, and he's been able to show us and be like, relax, it's okay.
So it's like delaying gratification, because I feel like we live in a time today where everybody wants things right now, to what you're saying. So how have you dealt with like the slow roll is the best roll?
It's a journey.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that I am so evolved that I'm like, man, you know what? I'm the epitome of patience. I remember when I was 12, 13 years old, I ran downstairs in tears. My mom's like, is everything okay? And I'm like, Mom, I just watched the best movie I've ever seen, and I wasn't in it. Which is crazy, because she's like, what movie is this? I'm like, it's Inception, and there was no role for me in Inception, mind you. Like, I didn't audition. There was no 12-year-old, but I've always been so, let me compare myself to the greatness that I see. And in that delta is where I find my insecurities. Wait, that was a bar.
Yeah.
That's
Somebody
crazy.
write that down for him, all right?
Hold on, that was a bar.
We're going to talk about music in a sec.
Wow. But, that's kind of always been my MO. And now I'm trying to get more in love with the process. Because I think that's where the real growth happens.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
So talking about music for a second. So not only is Olly an actor, but also a singer. You have a hot new song out called Body.
Body.
Tell us about how have you used music as a therapeutic outlet for you, and how has that journey been?
I always say in acting, I get to work through other people's thoughts and feelings, and through music I get to work through mine, because I write all my stuff, I produce all my stuff. Music kind of is my own personal, I always say music is kind of my personal gift to the world, whereas acting is a collaborative gift, because there's so many writers and producers and a studio and a this, but with music it's me. And so it is always really therapy. It kind of acts like a diary.
Do you feel like, because you're the singer, you're an actor, you're doing all this stuff, do you ever feel this pressure to be on all the time?
Yeah, constantly. Yes. And this actually goes sort of back to what I was saying about how being in public now is just different for me. I know that if I'm going to the grocery store, it's gonna take like 10 minutes, probably longer than it needs to be, depending on the time of day, depending on the time of year, depending on if the show's airing at that moment. But I think my way of dealing with that has been sort of a patience of self, and knowing that I just won't always be on, and that's okay. And my on looks like different things on different days. And using DoorDash a lot. If I'm not feeling it, I'll just Uber Eats it,
And now, do you have a close support system? Because I think, to me, and something we preach at Happy Jack Entertainment is, you need a foundation. You can't have a house without the foundation. To have a foundation of good people in your life is super, super important, whether that's family, friends, a therapist. Who are some of those support people in your life?
My mom, dad, and my siblings, they are just the most important people in my life. I have two younger siblings, one little sister, she's 4 years younger than me. One little brother, he's 6 years younger than me. They keep me very humble. It doesn't matter how the rest of the world sees me. I will always be, because for whatever reason, I don't know if y'all have siblings, I don't know if y'all go through this, but your siblings stay a specific age. And for them, for whatever reason, I'm always 13. Like, I'm always the 13-year-old older brother, no matter what. And that has been really great. And even like my mom, I'm always her baby. And so it doesn't matter how strong I think I am, my mom and I got into an argument the other day. Not like argument, because I'm coming to New York, and she was like, you didn't tell me that you were going to New York. I was like, what difference does it make? Like, I'm on, and she's like, well, I need to know where you're going and where you're at all times. Mother, I'm a 26-year-old man. I don't need to tell you. Obviously, everyone here who is a mother knows that I do need to tell her. But you know, that speaks to how involved.
Listen, she wants to come along for the journey.
Yeah.
You're Olly.
Yeah.
People want to be a part of your life.
Yeah.
Why won't Bel-Air let you do the Carlton dance?
Look, I'm not gonna say they won't. What I'll say is it needs to be a moment, right? It needs to be, because like I said, we're an hour-long comedy, so it's like, it's gotta work in the context of it. So I'm not gonna say no. What I will say is there's actually no footage of me doing the Carlton dance. And it's because if any footage ever gets taken, NBC finds a way to like wipe it away from existence. I don't know, whoever it is at Peacock that handles rights on videos, they're doing stellar work. Yeah.
Listen, shout out the OG Carlton too.
Yeah.
We got to take a second to shout him out.
Alfonso Ribeiro, he's incredible.
My last thing for you is, you know, how do you stay positive in an age where social media, there's all these comments, negativity. It's so easy for people to just leave a nasty comment. How do you handle that?
I have, I have one answer, and then I have like the real answer. The first answer is you can call me a lot of things, but you can't call me broke. So that's the first answer. The second answer is, you know, I think it's about perspective. And for me, it's like, I know what I've been put on this earth for, right? You know, whether you believe in God or fate or the universe or nothing, right? I know what I've been put on this earth for. I know what my gift to the world is. And that's kind of the most important thing to me. And everything else, I've learned to look at it as noise. And some noise is good, some noise is bad, but at the end of the day, it's just noise. And keeping that focus has been really important for me
I like that.
in doing this.
Noise is just noise, everybody. Can we make some noise for my guy Olly right here? Olly, thank you so much, bro, seriously, for coming, talking about mental health, and being an advocate and being the creator and artist you are. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
You're gonna stay right there because it's about time we bring out our next guest, Grammy-nominated artist and ACM award-winning country star. Make some noise for my guy, Jimmie Allen, everybody. All right, everybody, we got Jimmie Allen in the house right now. So Jimmie, thank you so much for being here today with everybody and talking that mental health talk. Let's talk about your early life first. Before you started really with your country career, you worked several different jobs to support yourself. How did those experiences shape your journey?
Man, I feel like, so being raised in my household, so my mother is from Oakland, California, right? But my dad's from this little small redneck town I'm from in Delaware. So my mom taught me the hard work about like hustle, discipline, staying focused, overcoming odds. My dad was a Marine, you know, so he taught me about, you know, being dedicated. You know, when you say you want to do something, you get it done, like not making excuses. So, you know, he would always tell my brothers, like, man, I want to get muscles, I want to do this. He said, okay, well, you didn't change your diet. So it's like when you say you want to do things, right, the results come from the steps you have to take. You can't skip a step and expect the same result. So that's what I applied to my life. So I moved to Nashville in 2007. I remember one day I told my mom, I said, all right, I'm moving to Nashville. She said, when? I said, tomorrow. So I hopped in my Chevy Malibu. I had $21 in my bank account, and I drove down. Because, you know, if you don't use debit, use credit. They only charge you $1 for a couple days, right?
Right.
So yeah, so by the time I got down there, my bank account was like negative 200 or something. So I found a place to live. I lived in this trailer with no electric for about 3 months. The lady sold the trailer. I lived in my car for like 4 or 5 months. And I finally got a place. And a lot of people wanted to live in Nashville. But I said, no, where do the successful people live? They lived in Franklin, Cool Springs. I want to be around them just so their mentality and their lifestyle and their habits can rub off on me. So
And that's a suburb of Nashville for people who don't know.
So I was like, So I would work at this gym from like 6 in the morning to 11. Then I'd write songs from like 12 to like 2. Then I worked at Bonefish Grill from like 4 to 10. Then 3 days a week I would work at Walmart from like 11 to like 6 in the morning. But I did that because I was like, okay, I can't expect other people to invest into my career and my future unless I'm willing to invest into myself.
Right.
So that's what I started doing, just paying for my own studio time, buying my own microphones, and just trying to create opportunities for myself without creating excuses. Yeah.
And then a lot of country music is about hardship. So were you originally in your early music talking about those experiences?
For me, it wasn't really hardships. For me, I always try to surround myself and my music with what motivated me, and that was my small town, right? That was like the places I would fish and still fish, right? The friends I hung out with growing the friends I have now are the same friends I grew up with that I've had when I was 4 or 5 years old. I didn't get too wrapped, because to me, music is just a job. Like, I'm not the whole celebrity, half celebrity. I don't get wrapped up in that, because we're just people. So for me, it's just a job. So my same friends that held me down my whole life are the same people I brought out on tour with me. The same people that I would hang out with before shows or after shows, stuff like that.
You had the support system, which is important.
Yeah, man, because life is about real people in it. Because what happens is you hit a hardship, right? And the people that don't know you, and the people that aren't your friends, you'll find out real fast who actually cares about you, the person who cared about your job.
I heard in an interview you were saying, like, during hard times, it was so crazy to you how fast people switched up. People at the label, people that said they loved you when they first walked in. And like you said, it's business on the way out.
It's business on the way, just your family on the way in, business on the way out. And that's a lesson I learned the hard way, you know, because it's like, the one thing I've figured out that's important is I never realized how important mental health was until that moment, right? So it's like you find yourself in a situation where you have the world looking at you like you're crazy, right? But then that's when you have to remember who you are.
Right.
Because the times when everyone thought I was happy, when I was at the Grammys or CMAs or on tour with Carrie Underwood, I was miserable. I was miserable the entire Carrie Underwood tour. I was miserable on Dance with the Stars.
Right.
Because I was trying to chase other people's dreams and not mine. For me, the perfect idea of success for me is living in my hometown of Delaware, fishing 15 days a month, bowling, playing maybe 1 or 2 shows every other month, and I'm good.
And living life.
And just, yeah, man, enjoying life, because I don't work, so I don't vacation so I can go to work. I work so I can vacation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I love that. And I wanna read a quote to the audience that you said in an interview. Life just felt like a circus because I couldn't be honest with myself about who I was and what I wanted. How did your life change once you started being honest with yourself?
Well, the first thing that changes is people in your circle. You know, you'll see your circle get real, real small, real fast. And my life changed because you're able to really understand what clarity and what peace is.
Right.
Right? And I know a lot of people that are living a life that they don't want to live. Like for me, right? I'm going through divorce right now. But I got married not because I wanted to. I got married because other people told me that's what I should be doing because I had children at my age, right? And a lot of times, now I'm not saying that people get married for that reason and don't end up happy, but the problem is when you start cutting corners on your happiness in life, it bleeds over into other areas because you can only fake who you are for so long.
Well, I want to talk about that for a second because you've been very open, and I commend you 100% for being open about having suicidal thoughts. I think what's very important, like I was talking about with Olly, is having a support system for those who are really there for you through tough times. You got a life-saving text from a friend.
Yeah.
Could you share what that moment was like for you and how that steered your path in a different direction, thankfully?
Yeah.
It's okay.
So I was sitting in my hotel room. You know, and the news had just broke. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, how do I provide for my kids, right? When you see shows getting canceled, endorsement deals being taken away, right? Just because of what someone said. Not what someone proved, because of what they said, right? And the first thing that comes to my mind is my kids. How do I provide for my kids? Well, my life insurance covers suicide. It's probably a terrible thing to have in life insurance. But I remember I was loading the bullets in my clip, my gun, and I went to my Instagram, wanted to see my kids one more time. Was on the phone with my mom, and right before I put the last bullet in, I get a text from my friend that just says, "Ending it isn't the answer." I was like, what? Like out of the blue.
It's a sign.
I didn't talk to him at all. And it just stopped me for a second, and I got to think. Because what people don't understand, man, when you're in that moment, the only thing that makes sense is getting it over. Like, now, once you get past it, you can look back and say, okay, I'm glad I got through that. But when you're surrounded by darkness and the walls are closing,
Scary.
it feels like the only escape, and you just want the pain to end, right? But I'm glad I didn't, because I get to see my children's face every day.
Make a round of applause for Jimmie Allen, everybody. Thank you for sharing, because that's not easy. That takes true vulnerability, courage, especially as men, to be able to open up and talk about real life shit that's happened.
Yeah.
You're a strong guy.
Thanks, man. I didn't believe in therapy before, but damn it, I do now. Listen, that shit worked, bro.
We love a good therapy session.
Because, like, and a lot of times, man, I can only speak for Black culture because I'm Black. Growing up, we didn't highlight seeking help when you're going through stuff. You get told, hey, man, suck that shit up. You're a man. Deal with it.
Yep.
Don't be a pussy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't knock them because that's how they were raised, and but it's up to us when you know better, do better. So
It was
now,
toughing it up.
Yeah. Like even with my son now, I talk to him. My oldest is 10. I'm like, bro, how do you feel? I said, if you're ever upset at dad about something, tell me.
Know.
Don't hold it in. And I don't want you to ever think that our relationship will be affected because you're mad at me. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, is making sure our children know that we're there for them regardless, right? Because we all have feelings. So many of us tried to run away when we were kids. I'm leaving the house. You can't tell me the damn bags I unpacked. I lowered myself to my damn second story window, ran away to my grandma's house. At 13, my mom came, picked me up, brought my ass right back to the house. But yeah, we all go through that, man. And the biggest thing is, like, it's up to us to support our children, empower them to be better. I definitely am not a fan of the whole soft parenting. No, my kids gonna learn some lessons.
Right.
They gonna earn everything in life just like I did. You know what I mean? I remember one time my son was like, Dad, we got money. No, I got money. I got money. You got shit.
You don't pay rent.
You don't pay rent.
I love
you
that.
don't pay mortgage. Matter of fact, them clothes you wearing, they mine.
Again, it goes back. It goes back to the foundation.
Absolutely.
Right? Good skills. Both of you, seems like you came from good families, and that's why you both are the men you are today. So one thing I want to ask for the audience and towards YouTube.
Did you cry or was it just me? Did you cry?
It was me.
Damn,
No, it was
bro.
me.
Did
It was
you tear up
no,
too?
he's
all
cutting
cried out.
onions, bro. He's literally cutting
That's
onions
what it
right
is.
there.
Yeah.
Ollie's
It's not
also,
you, man.
You're cried out from all the crying on stage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, bro.
he has
to play the role.
Yeah, you waste a lot of tears on something, bro.
His tank is
my guy.
empty. But going back to YouTube, right? We're in an age of social media, digital world. What could a platform like YouTube do? And this is to both of you, that could provide more resources and more of a safe outlet for creators and artists alike?
I mean, I will say, I think of all the platforms, I think YouTube has done a formidable job as far as content moderation and comment moderation and even the automated system is pretty good. Obviously there are things that can always be done better, but if I'm being honest, I think YouTube is one of the better ones.
I agree.
Because I'm trying to think and I can't. Shout out YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
I can't think of.
That's why we're here today.
Yeah, I agree. When I went through everything last year, all the media outlets were reaching out to me about, hey, we want to do a sit down, and I didn't trust them.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be in a situation where I'm asked a question.
Right.
And I don't get a chance to explain it and talk the way I want. So I reached out to Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yep.
Me and her did a sit down, and we put the entire thing on YouTube because it was a place where, okay, boom, I know I can put the whole thing up here. They're not gonna cut me off after a minute.
You control your own narrative.
You control your own narrative, leave the comments open, let people talk. And YouTube's always a place where I felt like I can get a real, raw, honest response from people. It's where a lot of people go to because I feel like YouTube is the real thing where people are actually into it. I feel like Facebook is a place where people go to just hate in the comments and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Instagram.
Yeah, bro. So that's what I like about YouTube. I definitely think YouTube should maybe do a series called Ask a Therapist, right? Where once a month they bring in a therapist, right? And people send in questions. And then the therapist answers that question. It could be a whole series because the first thing you're doing is you're highlighting mental health, right? You're also helping a therapist's business, right? And I say you find small therapists, like people that a lot of people don't know about, right? And you can actually do a thing where you could have a open therapy session where it becomes like a YouTube live where there's 2 or 3 therapists on there talking about certain subjects. And they could actually have a few patients on there that would be open to talk about what they've gone through with their therapist. I think that would be a good idea to kind of keep things going, and I feel like it's something that would slowly build. And it could be therapy sessions for a lot of people that can't afford therapy.
Well, that's the problem. So many people, this stigma is, I can't afford it. I stop my journey right there because I don't know where to get help or know about these resources.
Yep.
And I think that's a great segue. We want to open it up for a quick Q&A to the audience.
Actually, I do want to take a second as his lawyer to let it be known that he did patent that idea
Yes.
a minute ago. So if anyone wants to use it,
It's on tape.
that's his IP.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah,
IP.
I just need
that
my
out there.
music on the homepage of YouTube
Yeah.
for a
Right.
year.
Jimmy Allen, everybody. We make some noise for these two right here.
Because that was a good idea.
Thank you guys.
Come on.
Yo,
For sure.
real.